Hey guys, welcome to a game of the campaign trail, alternate history 2020 campaign trail, whatever you want to call it, the mod basically. It adds a lot of more possibilities than you normally see. Now, I've only really done this on, I believe, the live streams, maybe one video last year, but ultimately this is going to be relatively new as a concept, as a pre-recorded video. So here it is. It is going to be basically 1992, and you'll see what's going to happen. Now, here's the basic scenario, I think. All right, so let's see here what's going on. All right, so let's read. While initially popular, President George Bush has fallen out of favor with people from both parties due to going back on his campaign promise to not raise taxes, as well as a poor economy, and he needs to find a way to convince enough people to vote for him. Bill Clinton, governor of Arkansas, is a young, charismatic centrist who is looking to win over both progressives and moderates. Meanwhile, businessman Ross Perot hopes to win as an independent, although that's easier said than done, obviously. Now, if we move on, we'll see what's going on here. F11, of course, you don't want to see this shit around me. It's midnight, so you can get a sense of the vibe. So we have President George Bush, Republican from the home state of Texas, which is disingenuous because he's originally, I believe, from the state of Connecticut. Anyway, George Bush is the current president of the United States who lost popularity after he backed out of his campaign promise to not raise taxes. He must prove he has the independence, intellectual rigor, and strength to serve as president, and all while finding some way to reduce the popularity of his opponent. Bush appears to be trailing badly as the campaign begins. Okay, so interesting enough, right? Okay, so let's continue here. It's looking pretty rough. We can pick certain candidates. We can pick as a running mate Dan Quayle, who obviously lost in this case in 1982, so it's probably not a good idea to pick him. Ross Perot, I mean, this is pretty far-fetched, so we're not going to do that one. We're going to do one that is kind of realistic but also far-fetched, and that's going to be Republican Pat Buchanan. Okay, Pat Buchanan was Bush's primary rival for the 1992 Republican nomination. He is a paleo-conservative journalist. He is the preferred choice among really a good portion of the party. He has a loyal following among the far right. Many believe he would win over certain Perot voters. However, Pat Buchanan is a terrible choice if you want to win over moderates. He and Bush also have lukewarm feelings about each other personally. From the home state of Washington, D.C., which is also facetious because he more or less lives in Virginia. But okay. We'll go with normal difficulty. Now, if you notice, I'm running with dull, but this fixes itself after the first question, you'll notice. Anyways, what message will you most emphasize as you accept the Republican Party nomination? Well, we are going to not move into a new era. That is gay. We're going to be talking about competence in government, which a party that has cut inflation, unemployment, and interest rates over the last decade, which is gays too. Also, I stand for the continuation of Ronald Reagan's policies and legacy, which is probably a good thing because Reagan is popular. We need to attack the Democrats after the convention they put on and specifically challenge Dukakis on defense. So this is the 1988 one. So he already fucked this one up. Anyways, we'll just click this one for the sake of it. All right. Why did you raise taxes in 1990 against your own campaign promise? Ouch. Now, you can see the map as it is now in 1992. It's not looking good. And if you were to look at the general election in 1992, this is more or less what it looks like. So it's all over the place, actually. So it's not like the 2016 map, the 2012 map, 2008 map. It's not even close to that at all. So, for example, we lose the state of Montana but win the state of Arizona, or we lose the state of Montana but win Texas, which would not be realistic nowadays. So keep that in mind. Anyways, why did you raise taxes? Well, those taxes were meant to be temporary, and I will rescind them immediately, which is not going to work because that seems disingenuous, because if I rescind them immediately, what was the point of raising them in the first place? Second of all, it would be, I should clarify when I said that, I was only referring to the sales tax, which is just a complete lie. That is bullshit. Number 3, sometimes you have to change things you don't want to, and either this was a deal with, and either this or it was a deal with unbearable budget cuts. I guess I would have to be honest, because both of these seems like I would get hit anyway for lying. So let's just go ahead and be honest. Yeah, okay. So all of these states, from the helmet to the toe here, Clinton is leading by a good amount, and we are losing by a lot, honestly. And if you look at a swing state such as Florida, we are more or less tied. So we're going to go to Florida anyway and see what's going on here. What do you say about the selection of Pat Buchanan as your running mate? Pat Buchanan is an authentic conservative who will stop at nothing to make America great again. Okay, I guess. Um, to what extent will you campaign in the South? Will it contain swing states? So we'll do that a lot. Two, Republicans have won the South in every election since 1980. I should probably focus somewhere else. You'll say, I'll think about that. Well, I think the South is pretty important because of Clinton being from the South as well, so we have to campaign in there. Plus, we're already losing anyway. So it helps in the South but hurts elsewhere. Well, I mean, they put me in a bind. We'll go to Georgia because that's tight as well. How do you plan with the rioting and looting that's happening in LA? Let the local police deal with the situation. It's not bad enough to warrant an intervention from the federal government. That's not a winning position, obviously. Trump didn't really win on that message, of course. Second would be, I won't stand for the unacceptable behavior, bringing the National Guard to control the situation. Obviously, if I'm losing, I have to do something drastic, so that does seem to make sense. Most Americans are against rioting and looting, and we're pleased when you put a stop to it. Well, actually, in real life, he did send in the troops, and if you watch the 1992 convention speech from Buchanan, that's one thing that he gives Bush credit for as something that he had balls in doing. So now we're leading in Florida by 2, but losing Georgia by 2, which is interesting. And there's a lot of other things that are, including this calculus. For example, economics, defense, social issues, LA riots, and NAFTA, which is interesting. So, for example, in this case, I lost ground in Georgia for whatever reason. I assume that is because of economics, but I'm not sure. I can probably do a rally in a place such as Tennessee and see what's going on soon. What points against your opponent will you emphasize in the campaign? Number one would be campaign. Clinton bases his campaign on bipartisanship, but I'm bipartisan as he is, if not even more so. No, okay, that's not a winning message. Number two is Clinton is a left-wing liberal who wants to ban assault rifles, expand abortion rights, and allow homosexuals to serve in the military. That's a pretty good one. Clinton is a good man with a good record as governor of Arkansas. I prefer to focus on my own qualifications and experience for the job. Well, if I'm losing, I might as well hit him, right? Why kiss his ass? I mean, come on. This might have done wonders against Dukakis, but Clinton is not as far left as Dukakis. Okay, that is a good point, but I am grasping at straws here. The gap is narrowing in Georgia as well as it is narrowing in Florida, so that's not good. But we'll go to Tennessee anyway. Well, with Perot suspending his campaign, it's time to figure out what the voters have gone to. Well, I hope it's me. It's split even. Okay, whatever. What are your thoughts on NAFTA? Do you think it's a good trade agreement? So if you were to look at the states that are close, NAFTA moderate, NAFTA support, NAFTA moderate, NAFTA. Okay, so the NAFTA is popular. I mean, it is popular to be anti-NAFTA like Trump in the north, more or less in the east, in a lot of places. But towards the south, it either is moderate on NAFTA or supports it. So it's probably going to be a net wash to really look at NAFTA in a negative way or a positive one. So in that case, I don't really feel a strong way about it. Now, Clinton did support NAFTA, so maybe having a contrast would be of service. Plus, having Buchanan on there would make me probably more anti-NAFTA. Plus, keep in mind that Perot siphoned votes from both parties based on being anti-NAFTA. So in that case, I should probably be lightly against it. So I can support the deal. Free trade leads companies to ship jobs overseas to save a quick buck, which would be devastating to the American worker. Okay, that's good rhetoric. I fully support trade agreements, and I will see what I can do as president to get it passed. Nah, it depends on how the current negotiations work. I'm all for free trade, but we also need a trade agreement that won't hurt American manufacturing. Okay, you can't lose with that one. Okay, now we are actually gaining ground in the South, apparently, and in the North, it looks like we did make a little bit of headway. We'll go to Ohio and see what's going on. What are your thoughts on abortion? I'm strongly pro-life. When a woman has an abortion, it's killing an innocent human being. Under my administration, we'd ensure both her and her doctor face homicide charges at the federal level. Ho, 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 based. Okay, I believe that abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. That is the Clinton approach. That is pretty popular, I'm not going to lie. I am pro-life, but I understand we have certain laws in place. Hopefully we can end late-term abortion and make the Hyde Amendment permanent. I think this would be the best political idea. Having a homicide thing, I mean, that's probably not going to hang over my head well. This strikes a good balance between appealing to moderates and maintaining the base. Yeah, exactly. Okay, as long as Buchanan won't sabotage the campaign. Now I'm leading in Ohio, of all places. Arsenio Hall has invited Bill Clinton on his show to play saxophone. Do you want to see how it goes? Yeah, why not? His performance of Heartbreak Hotel went pretty well. It's a cool name, actually. So now he's gaining ground in the fucking South. Are you kidding me? Maybe Bush should learn how to play saxophone then. Do you support additional gun control measures at the federal level? I believe that we need to consider any measure to reduce our nation's crime epidemic, including an assault rifle ban. No, that's not a good idea at all. I would support only limited steps in the issue, like a ban on cop killer bullets. Overall, I'm an opponent of increased gun control. This is getting it completely backwards. American families have every right to defend themselves. Okay, the third is probably going to keep the base. I need to keep the base. Yeah, mainstream Republican take. Okay, well, how does this fare actually electorally? So now I'm solidifying certain parts, right? So this part of the South, Texas, Oklahoma, Idaho, places like Virginia and North Carolina. So, okay, that's good. Also, we did crack a little bit in this general area, the bluegrass region over here in Kentucky and Tennessee. So that's good as well. Arkansas is still looking sapphire blue, I guess. So that's not any good for us. To what extent will you attack Clinton's lack of service during the Vietnam War? Well, that's going to be a very easy attack to make, especially for Southern rednecks. Not to say that in a condescending sense, but that son of a bitch Clinton didn't serve in the damn war, and then he wants to tell us about George Bush. Man, that guy's a coward. Stuff like that. I feel like that would definitely work. Bill Clinton was never technically drafted, and besides, my running mate has history that also... My running mate might have also dodged the draft, which I don't know about. I'd rather focus on other issues. While 282,000 men died during the war against communism, Bill Clinton took advantage of his family's wealth to avoid serving his country. We will attack him relentlessly. Okay, see, this is fool's gold because Clinton came from poverty, so that's a fucking lie. Bill Clinton is a draft dodger, and we will highlight that, but we should also spend most of the campaign focusing on my own merits. Yeah, obviously. Okay, so now we are gaining a slightly more ground, I believe, in general. So that's a good thing. Yeah, we're leading in Arizona now by 2, which is good. I would probably say we campaign in Louisiana. To what extent will you attack Clinton for an affair he had with a woman called Jennifer Flowers? So the thing is that the Jennifer Flowers stuff, after he bought her to, paid her to shut up, basically went away in 1992 during the primary. So if we dig that back up, I don't see how that effective that would be. Now, hitting him on that and then having that be festering around for several years is really important for the Monica Lewinsky scandal in 1998, but I don't think it would be paying dividends as of right now. So should we attack him relentlessly? I mean, I kind of have to. I'm losing, so. Bill Clinton's affair with Jennifer Flowers is a weak point. Make sure to attack him for it. Okay, good. Good. Okay, now we are leading in South Carolina by a lot. So far, so good in Florida and Georgia. We are tied. We are losing Ohio for whatever reason. Louisiana down by 2. We are doing pretty bad in Iowa. The Midwest is looking terrible. We are somehow leading in New Hampshire by 5, which is a good sign because we got close to losing that primary in 1992 to Buchanan. There was a lot of debate on whether or not homosexuals should be allowed to serve in the military. What are your thoughts? So from my perspective, obviously that is bad, but as of 1992, I think that is a pretty contentious issue, so we might as well hit a middle ground on this one. I'm fine with homosexuals serving in the military so long as they're not open about it. That kind of defeats the purpose and morality of it. I have no problem with homosexuals in the military. 3, I don't think it's a good idea to allow homosexuals to serve. I'll just be strong on this one because if you look at the South, it is socially conservative, and the vast majority of swing states are moderate to conservative. So in that case, I don't see this hurting me as much as you would normally see. So yes, I'll just ban gays. Based. Typical. Yeah, exactly. So now we're losing ground in these 2 states and even in New Hampshire, which is bizarre. But in certain other places, I feel like we're doing better. Yeah, so in the southern region in general, it seems to have tightened up a little bit, which is a good sign. But Perot more or less is not a factor here. He is peaking in these prairie states, not too relevant though. I'm gonna campaign in Nevada for what it's worth. Do you have anything to say about the Iran-Contra affair? Can you reassure voters that you were not involved? I was absolutely not involved in these dealings at this point. 2, this isn't a 7-year-old issue. Why even bother talking about it? Yeah, why would I even bother talking about it? Fair enough. Okay. Well, does that hurt? Okay, now we're doing better in this general region with Virginia and that, so I guess that helped. What are your thoughts on the ACLU, which is the American Civil Liberties Union, I believe? I don't share every belief this group has, but they've done a lot to help with the American people. Well, I don't hate him. I've been concerned as many good Americans have been concerned as any good Americans by some of the cases. Yeah, I'll say I'm concerned. The ACLU may be popular on the northeastern college campuses, but most Americans aren't fond of them. Okay. Um, okay, so yeah, I don't see much of a change. Okay, so we're gonna campaign in probably not Kentucky. In this case, I would probably go for a state such as okay, Florida. Okay, do you plan on attacking Bill Clinton for marijuana use? If the American people knew of Clinton's marijuana use, there's no way they'd back him. We'll hammer Clinton. I don't think this line of attack will work. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it. I mean, we should not over attack him on shit that isn't relevant. We should stick on the stuff that actually works. Advisors feel like you're leaving a good attack. Who fucking cares, man, if he's smoking pot? I mean, call me liberal, but come on. That's not like Bill Clinton smoking weed 50 years ago is like the 10th problem he has, or probably like 50th, man. I don't care. Will Perot re-entering the race? With Perot re-entering the race, it's time to find out where the voters. Okay, well, whatever. Great news. Most of the voters previously supported Clinton. Okay, that's great. Yeah, now you see Clinton's position weakening in the South as well as the West. Okay, this is really good. Now Perot's taking a huge chunk of the vote. Holy cannoli! What the fuck? Yeah, wow. This is interesting. This changes the dynamic a lot. So in this case, best campaign in Ohio. It's a big state. What measures should you take to fix our poor economy? NAFTA will overall benefit. Nah. We could have stabilized the situation much earlier with aggressive intervention from the federal government. That's ridiculous because, I mean, that's not Republican. So that would collapse the base. 3, we need to learn, we need to form a comprehensive economic strategy to ensure the economy rebounds. Well, I'm not supposed to be open about NAFTA because then the pro voters will shift against me. So we'll just go ahead and do that one. In this case, this didn't really change the calculus by any significant degree. Whatever. Okay. Will you participate in a 3-way debate between yourself, and Perot? Okay. Okay. So here's the thing. He lost the debates in terms of the public consensus. So why would Bush do that? I'm going to avoid that. A bunch of people in chicken costumes come to heckle you at your rallies. Meanwhile, Perot wins the debate. But as John Anderson in 1980, the victory only helps Clinton. Interesting. Okay. So I am now... Okay, I didn't actually lose any support from what I see, so I probably chose right in avoiding the debate. Now, if you remember, historically, Bush was the one who necessarily was looking at the watch. So, yeah, that was bad optics. And Bill Clinton, again, with the charisma, I feel your pain, shit like that, ingratiated him with a lot of voters. So avoiding the debates was the right thing to do, in my opinion. What do you plan on saying today on the campaign trail? Why would I attack Ross Perot? That's ridiculous. I would like to attack Bill Clinton. Yeah, obviously. Okay, we'll hurt Clinton. Okay, now we are... It's hard to tell the difference. The map is so fucking weird compared to, like, 2020. How much do you plan on emphasizing how you helped end the Cold War? I mean, this is obviously a good win for us Republicans, so I'm going to mention extensively, of course. Yes, it's going to gain me. Never hurts to highlight. Yeah, exactly. So in this case, we were winning in Florida, Georgia. We are also winning in a state such... well, we're tied in Georgia. We are winning in Ohio by 2. Okay. I still think we're going to lose, but I'm tightening it up just a little bit here. And that's okay. That's okay. Okay, Georgia. Let's go. Will you make a judge's views on abortion a strong component of your appointments? I don't see this helping me if I go either way, so I'll just try to pick a middle ground. It is only right to consider a judge's views on the right to choose when making appointments. Okay, that's liberal. I will definitely take somebody's views on rights of the unborn into account, so that's a right wing. There's a lot of jurisprudence that someone's belief on a small aspect of the abortion issue. My goal is to appoint the most qualified. I'll go right wing on this one because I need the South, number 1, and number 2. This first one is such a bullshit, so yeah. Okay, so this seems more or less the same. With 4 days left until the election, Kaspar Weinberger, Reagan's former Secretary of State, has been convicted of lying about the Iran-Contra scandal. This will give Clinton a bump. Okay, so I guess that's what happened for me not mentioning that it had nothing to do with Iran-Contra, which is kind of bullshit, but okay, that sucks. Let's hope it doesn't cost you the election. I was already losing, but okay. Yeah, I mean, Clinton gained a little bit in Ohio. I mean, whatever. Okay. Now we could probably go for Arizona because I love the state. Where will you spend the last part of the campaign? I'd probably say, yeah, let's go to Virginia, North Carolina, and Georgia. Only because Clinton won Georgia in 92, so we'll make sure it doesn't go blue again. So as that's calculating, keep in mind the map in this case was Bill Clinton 370 to my 168 as George H.W. Bush and Dan Quayle in 1992. Clinton won 44.9 million votes, and I won 39.1 million votes. Perot 19.7. So that means Bush beat Perot by 22 million more or less, and Clinton beat he beat Bush by 5.8 million. So in this case, Clinton got 43% of the popular vote, HW got 37, and Perot got 19. So as long as I get over 170, I already did better than Bush. And as long as I get more than 38% of the popular vote, then I already did better than Bush. And that's what I'm going to say because I'm very sure I'm going to lose. But as long as I didn't lose by more than Bush, then, I mean, this cannot be that bad. Also, it says Clinton, Bush, Perot, and Grits. Who the fuck is Grits? Like vinegar, grits and tea? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. So we'll wait on those results. We'll see what happens. So far it's not looking good. I feel like Clinton's gonna win this. Yeah, we lost this election. Well, yikes. So much for America First, apparently. Jeez, Buchanan, what the fuck happened here? Wow. Okay. We can still win Ohio. I mean, we won New Hampshire. That's a good sign. Okay. Wow. Bizarre. North Dakota red, South Dakota blue, Montana blue. So this map is already bizarre, man. And Indiana went red. Okay. What? Oh. Ross Perot won the state of Idaho. That's so random. Okay. So apparently, oh my fucking gosh. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking joking? What the fuck? Okay, so Clinton won 402 electoral votes, which is definitely a landslide, and I only won 132. Oh, come on. So I very narrowly lost Florida. I very narrowly lost okay. I lost Georgia by less than 0.1%. I lost Florida by less than 0.5%. I lost Ohio by 0.1%. And I lost the state of what else was close? Okay, so had I done a little bit better, I would have won these 25 electoral votes. I would have won these 13, 38, and then I would have won 21. That would have been 59. So I would have gotten 191 electoral votes, or 191. And Clinton would have gone like 340 something. So had I done slightly better, I would have won by more than Bush at least, but nah. And I lost to Perot by 1% and fucking and in the state of Idaho. So that's really weird. Okay, so in this case, Ross Perot ended up with 18.6% of the vote, so he did slightly worse. George Bush, he got 37.4%, which is slightly, well, actually, that is, so if we look at the actual election, he got 37.4, so we got the exact same popular vote. In terms of Clinton, he got 43 flat. In this case, he got 43.9, so he did 1% better. If you look at the actual vote totals, Clinton got only 40 so he did 4 million votes worse, and I also did 5 million votes worse, and Perot did about 1 million votes worse, or 2 million votes worse, actually. Yeah, 2.5. So really weird. So the turnout was pretty funky, and yeah, so this is, so overall, like, it was a wash. I think it went either way. I think I did slightly worse than in real life, and I think that has to do with a little bit of losing the moderate support. 'Cause it's clearly not the far right that I lost this time. It was actually the moderates. So yes, the moral of the story is then if George H.W. Bush picked Buchanan in 1992 as a running mate instead of Quayle, he would have lost, if not by slightly more or slightly less. Okay, that is the moral of the story, guys. And in this case, Ross Perot would have won one state, which would have been pretty crazy, electorally. So yeah, that's that. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's a lopsided election, so I lost. Do I blame myself? Maybe just a little bit. So anyways, thanks for watching, and goodbye, guys.